People do speedballs. That's a thing.
It looks like a drug overdose death.
YouTube doesn't allow you to show the full incident.
People do speedballs all the time, and methamphetamine. And
once I found out that he was overdosing, I don't know how you guys feel, but he had fentanyl, norfentanyl,
And meth.
then
dude, that's methamphetamine. And
it looks like a drug overdose death.
and typically it's dangerous, man. Well,
I don't know.
Well, just for the sake of understanding fentanyl for a second, fentanyl in little bitty grams of it is more dangerous than a horse tranquilizer. Little bitty grams of it. It is more potent. Little bitty grams of it. Little bitty grams of it. Fentanyl is one of the most potent and dangerous drugs that exist at this point. Little bitty grams of it. Little bitty grams of it. And if you ingest it, you might as well call yourself dead. Fentanyl can seep through the skin. You can inhale it. And if our department, when the fentanyl first came, you have to wear gloves, you got to wear a mask, and you got to have a complete hazmat suit on to test every drug, because how potent it was. Every drug we test, you have to wear a full hazmat suit to test every drug. Handling a drug laced with fentanyl and with gloves on. A Phoenix police officer just inhaling vapor, he passed out from handling a drug laced with fentanyl. And I had to administer Narcan to him, or he would have died. And he passed out, he would have died. Just inhaling vapor, you can inhale it. And
Lethal dose of fentanyl?
Yeah, lethal. If you ingest it, you might as well call yourself dead.
So it's 1/100th the size of a penny?
Yeah.
It's
he would have died. He would have died.
So we pulled up from the DEA.gov an image of a penny on the screen, and there's tiny little white specks. It shows up a lethal dose of fentanyl, and it's next to a penny.
Yeah.
I've heard these stories, man. I remember in Chicago they called it super heroin, because like you said, you could accidentally just inhale a tiny bit, you're dead.
Didn't exist 12 years ago.
People didn't get it.
It's like lab-created opiate that didn't exist.
People didn't get it.
So, dude, that's speedballs. That's a just inhaling vapor from a drug laced with fentanyl. He would have died. Handling a drug laced with little bitty grams of fentanyl. They don't live. That's a thing.
There's tiny little white specks.
Little bitty grams of it. Little bitty grams of it. And if you ingest it, you might as well call yourself dead. Fentanyl can seep through, you're gonna die. People do speedballs. That's a thing.
It looks like a drug overdose death.
YouTube doesn't allow you to show the full incident.
People do speedballs all the time, and methamphetamine. And
once I found out that he was overdosing, I don't know how you guys feel, but he had fentanyl, norfentanyl,
And meth.
then
dude, that's methamphetamine. And
it looks like a drug overdose death.
and typically it's dangerous, man. Well,
I don't know.
Well, just for the sake of understanding fentanyl for a second, fentanyl in little bitty grams of it is more dangerous than a horse tranquilizer. Little bitty grams of it. It is more potent. Little bitty grams of it. Fentanyl is one of the most potent and dangerous drugs that exist at this point. Little bitty grams of it. Little bitty grams of it. And if you ingest it, you might as well call yourself dead. Fentanyl can seep through the skin, and if you can inhale it. Our fentanyl, you have to inhale it, and because how potent it was. Every drug we test, every drug. We first came to test every drug. Handling a drug, just inhaling vapor from handling a drug laced with fentanyl. And laced with fentanyl, he would have died. And he passed just inhaling vapor, died. And
Lethal dose of fentanyl?
Yeah, lethal. If you ingest, you can inhale it, and you might as well call yourself dead.
So it's 1/100th the size of a penny.
He would have died. He would have died.
Because like you said you could accidentally just inhale a tiny bit, you're dead. So we called it super heroin. We pulled up from the it shows up a lethal dose of fentanyl. Accidentally just inhale a tiny bit, your dose of fentanyl, and it's tiny little white specks.
Little bitty grams of fentanyl.
Didn't exist 12 years ago. It's like lab-created opiate that
People didn't get it.
didn't exist.
Dude, that's speedballs. That's a just inhaling vapor from a drug laced with fentanyl. He would have died. Handling a drug laced.
Accidentally just inhale a tiny bit.
Little bitty grams of a drug laced with little bitty grams of little bitty grams of fentanyl. That's a thing. Fentanyl. They don't live. That's a thing. He would have died.
You're dead.
You're gonna die. That's a thing. Fentanyl. You're gonna die.
I've heard these stories, man. I remember in Chicago they called it super heroin, because accidentally just inhale a tiny bit.
They don't live. That's a thing. Fentanyl. You're gonna die.
You're dead.